Okay, so as I started setting up this camera, James asked, what are we going to talk about? I said, I have absolutely no idea. So I figured, give you an update. We're in the Walt Whitman Mall parking lot, if anyone knows, in Huntington, I guess this is considered. If anyone's local, you know where we are. We are meeting Donna, who did the interview on me, is that last week? Last week. So we are discussing the future plans of me trying to build my brand, as I told you guys. The plan, we'll see how it goes. We have some talking points. And I just want to kind of, again, reiterate, you know, a lot of people, again, I get the same questions over and over again. People saying, if you're making what you're making, why do you do this? Why do you train people? Why? People literally say to me, someone just said to me yesterday, goes, oh, if I made that money, I'd retire. That's the reason why you don't make that much money, because you think that you're just going to retire. You think that people that are successful don't usually just go retire. Like, look at Bill Gates, look at anybody that's a millionaire or billionaire out there. Most people, I'm not saying all, most people continue. It's what drives them, right? They don't want to just sit around and play golf all day. I mean, that's kind of boring. I can never see myself, doesn't matter how much money I make, stop working. It's fun, because when you are successful, it actually becomes more fun. It's not like going to a job. So, but also I want to say it's a stepping stone for me. Everybody looks at everything as a stepping stone. You can't compare yourself to where you're at today to where I am today, or anybody else that's successful. You can't compare yourself that way. You have to look at where the person started. So where you are today is pretty much where I was either in 2014 when I first started become a business broker myself, or even going back to 2006 when I started making money from home. That's the times you want to compare yourself to me, because I was just getting going into something. So again, the brokering for me, I knew I didn't want to be a broker forever, but for me, I knew it was a stepping stone. I needed to learn that business to become a lead generator. I wanted to become a lead generator. That was my goal. But I knew I had to do the brokering first to learn the business, get in with the buyers so they have a relationship with them and they buy leads from me. So that was a stepping stone for me. So I went from a broker to a lead generator. Now, yeah, I do great as lead generator. I don't want to stop doing lead gen. I want to continue. Now, this, build on my personal brand, doing this training, that's another stepping stone for me. And we'll see what happens in the next 2 or 3 years with this. But again, I'm not looking at it. A lot of people come to me, I want to make money in 2 days, 5 days, a week, a month. It's like, okay, great, go for it, right? But that's a really bad plan, right? So I know that I'm going to start this training, this academy, and it's going to take me a year or 2 or 3 to really get anywhere big with it. And just people understand, I started a year ago already. Last October is when I first did my first webinar. It is almost a year ago. And I didn't truly have a solid plan until this past June. The end of June is when I actually started pushing it. And I still don't really feel like I have a great plan, because if you I talk to another trainer, like someone else that does this type of stuff, a big name, I'm sure you know who he is, but I'm not going to say anything. And what I've learned from other people, talking to people, is that nobody has a freaking clue what they're doing when they first start. Just like I have no idea what I'm doing in this training stuff. So that's good. So if you feel like you have no idea what you're doing, that's totally fine, because usually nobody has any idea what they're doing when they first start something. But also, they all have their stepping stones. They all have their way of building it. So what I mean by that is this. Anybody that does a training has a second and a third level, right? You pay to get in, then you have a second level of training, a third level of training. That's the way that they're all built. I don't have that, because when I first started, I had no idea what else to do, right? So I set up this training, and I know it's a good training, but how do I add on to it? So now that I've been doing it for a while, since June, and I've been getting a lot of feedback, that's why I've been doing the calls, because I want to hear feedback from people. We've done some conference calls. I want to hear feedback from people. A lot of people email me and hit me up through Facebook. So now I'm learning from that. Now I feel more confident that I can put together another training program to help people go to that next level. So that's more to come there. But for now, I'm going to throw James in a spotlight here and let him give you an update.
Oh.
He had no idea he was going to say anything.
I thought it was just meeting Donna for lunch.
So figure let him go with what he's been doing, and maybe he can go into more of, again, why he started, where his plans are with the business.
Okay, cool. I guess let's update from, where we last spoke. Well, I could actually start from the beginning and say, recently I started sometime early August and did my first month, and I can't remember if we reported in terms of what we've accomplished, but I'm proud to say we did about $11,000 that first month. Closed a lot of deals, credit repair deals, business loans, and so forth. So, but kind of what you were saying, since I'm thrown on the spot here, I have no idea what I was going to say, but kind of like what you were just saying early on in this video about ramping up in any business, and I include myself in that, even though I've been following the program. I've been really trying to get ramped up. I know our first 11 days I first got my deal, so I was really anxious, really pushing. But even with that, there's still a lot of groundwork that had to be established, and I'm proud that I did $11,000 in my first month. I had a little more ambitious goals, but I was letting the process take place, planting those seeds. And already now, where I'm at today, I guess we're about 40 some odd days in, almost 50 days in, I'm already on scale to double that, probably even more. But I was seeing how this has a velocity. It's almost like a snowball effect, where you set the groundwork, you put things in place, and then it just starts to trigger. Things start popping, things start happening. So with that, and kind of like what Phil was saying about looking at that next step, and I'm not nearly comparing myself to Phil. I'm just looking to see what I could do on my own and really progress. But what really attracted me when we first started talking was the lead gen side. So when I first spoke to Phil about that, the business loan broker was definitely the way to go, because I didn't know anything about lead gen. I never did a Facebook ad or anything like that. And for those of you who saw me early on, I was excited because it got it to work, and I'm still doing Facebook ads. I'm also doing a lot with LinkedIn. That's also an area that I've been growing from. So the lead gen side has been something that's always been of interest to me, and now that's what I'm dabbling in now. I'm kind of using my background that I've learned from the business loan broker training and using that information and that knowledge base, because I can really see how this is scalable, especially on the lead gen side, where now what I'm doing is I'm using LinkedIn. I'm actually reaching out to merchant cash advance companies and calling them and trying to get more information about them. I'm physically reaching out to them, asking them what they need so I could sell them leads. So I could generate these leads now instead of generating them just for myself, which I'm still doing. I'm still going to be calling out so I could make my commissions on those business deals. I'm actually now putting it in place to speak to these companies to generate the leads to sell to them. So I found that the information that I have now is vital to being able to communicate with them, whether it be on email or following up with phone calls or on LinkedIn, chatting with them on there. So I can see where and that's what I'm doing now. But I have that knowledge base because I've closed these deals, because I've spoken to business owners, knowing what they need for these deals, and working with the funding companies, understanding what they need to receive the deal. And now for myself, for reaching out and getting the leads on my own, this is the same thing that these funding companies would need for their ISOs to call out. And this is now something that I'm interested in. I just started dabbling with that and using LinkedIn and generating more leads. I'm still doing the Facebook ads and so forth, which is working really well. Just got to keep on top of it and monitor it. And that's kind of where I'm going. I'm kind of transitioning more into the lead gen, but I'm still working with my business loans and so forth. So I guess to recap, that's kind of where I'm at. Yeah, I guess that's really it. Just thrown at me. So
that's actually good. Let me go off that, because a lot of people do contact me and say, I want to become a lead generator. And I understand. I get it. I understand that you want to become a lead generator. It's just a really hard business to just turn on.
Yeah.
There's so much groundwork that needs to be done. And I'll explain. You need buyers. Right? So you need to be able to call a buyer, whatever industry you want to become a lead generator, auto finance, student loan, tax, mortgage, insurance, doesn't matter. You need people to buy leads from you. But how do you go to a lead buyer and say, hey, buy leads from me? Like I said, they're going to start drilling you with questions.
Mm-hmm.
And then because you're asking them to buy a lead. How do I know that the leads are good? Where are they coming from? Whatever. What are you going to say? Well, I'm going to start generating leads. They're going to say, all right, well, go start generating leads and going back.
Yeah.
You know, if you never generated a lead before, why would I buy leads from you? So they want to buy leads from people to experience. So that's why if people want to become a lead generator, the brokering is a great place to start. Then you can try to transition into a lead generator in the business loan space or any space. Because once you get it, you understand the business in general, then it's like, okay, I can see how I can pivot into different directions.
Right.
I know lead generation companies that used to do business loans. They don't do business loans anymore for whatever reason. And they said, all right, we're just going to go into auto finance. We're going to go into student loan. We're going to go into something else. And you can do that after you have the experience. So I've been trying to figure out how to put together a training program to teach people how to become a lead generator. And again, it's really hard to do. So the only way that I can really do it is by giving you a business to do. Now the business loan market's too difficult to do that with you guys. There's not enough scale for 1,000 people to do, because I don't want to do something that a lot of people can't do, right? I don't want to do something only 5 people can do. I may start out with only letting 5 people in, but you know, if I'm going to build something out, it has to be something that thousands of people can do, or hopefully tens of thousands. So I got to figure that out. I do have some contacts that I reached out to, given them some ideas. They came back to me and say, hey, we got this that can handle a decent amount of people. Or some other guys I talked to that have their own program. So I'm trying to put that together. Still a little ways out. And again, I think I'm going to try to do this accelerator program where I help you guys accelerate your current business. That's another thing I've been thinking about, is how to help you guys do that. Real quick, I went away last week. This is a last minute trip. Wasn't something planned. So James was like, you going away again? So so that's actually 47 vacation days in like the last 12 or so months. 47 days of vacation. Can you imagine? It's actually too much. So my wife sent me an article. I actually didn't show you this. It said, spend your money on experiences, not things. She goes, this article understands me, or I understand this article. So I'm like, yeah, but I still need some things. So anyway, so while I was there, I actually made a video. I just haven't posted, did nothing. And I'll kind of just give you I'll put that video out, but just kind of something else I was thinking about was I want to rebrand this brokerage trade. Did I tell you this?
I think you mentioned you might.
I want to rebrand it as small business consulting, not business brokering. And the reason why is, real quick, because I'm going to do a whole video on this. Number one, I think you can make a lot more money.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, I think you're pigeonholed as a broker. And broker, when you hear broker, it's like a bad name. You know, people always think they're going to get screwed when they hear the word broker. So I want to rebrand it and give you guys a lot of other ways to make money, because making money is good. And giving you a lot of different ways to make money. That's really the most important part. Giving you, just multiple revenue streams with the same leads. So you're still generating the same leads. You're just presenting yourself in a different way, and you're giving the leads more ways to basically spend money with you. That's really what it comes down to. But the loans is still going to be a big part of that, but there's going to be a lot of other stuff. So anyway, I'll leave it at that. We have 8 minutes left until this meeting. So we'll go in there and we'll see what happens, and hopefully it's all good.
Great.
All right.
All right, cool.